It happens every day on every highway in America. You are stuck in traffic and you see it looming in your rearview mirror. A massive, brand new pickup truck. Chrome finish, lift kit, leather interior, a machine that easily costs 80, maybe $90,000. You look at the driver. He looks like a regular guy. Maybe he works in the same building as you. Maybe he lives in your neighborhood. And you cannot help but do the mental math. You know what the average salary is. You know what the cost of living is. So the question hits you. How? How is this mathematically possible? Is he a secret millionaire? Did he crack some code that you missed? Here is the brutal truth that nobody wants to admit. He isn't rich. In fact, statistically speaking, the person driving that symbol of success is likely broke. He is drowning in a financial system designed to keep him poor while making him feel like a king. My name is Max, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and researching why people make the financial decisions they do. And today, we are exposing the wealth illusion. We are looking at a middle class that is cannibalizing its own future, $900 a month at a time. We are going to break down the predatory 84-month loans, the negative equity death spiral, and the psychology that convinces rational people to sign contracts that ruin their lives. If you have ever felt the pressure to upgrade your car, or if you just want to understand the economic horror story unfolding on our roads, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we are about to dismantle the biggest lie in American finance. Let us look at the numbers. Before we dissect the mechanics of how this trap works, we need to establish exactly what we are dealing with. Because the numbers have shifted so aggressively in the last 5 years, most people's perception of normal is completely outdated. The average new car payment in America has not just gone up, it has crossed a psychological and financial threshold that would have been considered insanity a decade ago. We are now seeing average monthly payments for new vehicles hovering around the $730 mark. That is the average. That includes the compact sedans and the budget models. But when you strip away the outliers and look at what Americans are actually buying, the trucks and the SUVs that dominate our roads, the reality is much darker. For these vehicles, payments of $900, $1,000, or even $1,200 a month have become the standard. Think about that for a second. $1,200 a month. That is a mortgage payment in many parts of this country. That is more than the total monthly take-home pay of a minimum wage worker. And yet, dealerships are packed. Papers are being signed every single day. The terrifying disconnect here is income. The median household income in the United States has not doubled in the last 10 years. Wages have grown, yes, but they have moved at a glacial pace compared to the explosive inflation of vehicle prices. So, we have a situation where a school teacher, a nurse, or a retail manager is driving a vehicle that costs more than their entire annual salary. They aren't crypto billionaires. They aren't trust fund babies. They are regular people who have walked into a dealership and been sold a lie. The lie is that affordability is determined by a monthly payment, not the total cost. And this single misconception is the foundation of the entire car payment trap. So, how does the math work? How do you take a $70,000 truck and sell it to someone making $50,000 a year without the bank laughing them out of the building? The answer lies in term extension. This is the weapon of mass financial destruction that has quietly normalized being in debt forever. If you go back 20 years, a standard car loan was 36 months, maybe 48 months if you were really stretching it. If you could not pay the car off in 3 or 4 years, the common wisdom was that you could not afford the car. Those days are dead. They are buried. Today, 72-month loans are standard. 84-month loans, that is 7 years, are increasingly common, and we are now seeing the rise of the 96-month auto loan. That is 8 years of payments for a depreciating asset. Here is the magic trick dealerships use on your brain. Let us say you are looking at a $60,000 truck. On a sensible 48-month loan, your payment would be roughly $1,400 a month. For most people, that number is terrifying. It is a red flag. It screams, "You cannot afford this." But the finance manager smiles and says, "Don't worry, we can get that payment down." They stretch that loan out to 84 months. Suddenly, the payment drops to about $850. The dopamine hits. The anxiety vanishes. You look at $850 and think, "I can squeeze that into my budget." But here is what you did not calculate. By doubling the length of the loan, you have not just lowered the payment, you have drastically increased the cost of the product. The interest you will pay over those extra years adds thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars to the final price. You are paying a premium for the privilege of remaining in debt longer. And then there is the 0% APR myth. You see it on commercials during football games. 0% financing for 72 months. It sounds like free money. Why would you not take it? Here's the secret they do not want you to know. The cost of that financing is almost always baked into the price of the car. You usually have a choice. Take the cash rebate, often several $1,000s off the sticker price, or take the 0% financing and pay full MSRP. If you do the math, paying full price to get 0% interest is often more expensive than taking the discount and getting a loan from your credit union. It is a shell game, and the house always wins. But the term extension is only the beginning. It sets the stage for the most dangerous phase of the trap, negative equity, or as it is known in the industry, being underwater. When you sign a 7-year loan, your amortization schedule, the rate at which you pay down the principal, is incredibly slow. But the car's depreciation, that is fast. Brutally fast. A new car can lose 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. By year 3, it might be worth 40% less than what you paid. So, let us go back to our friend with the 84-month loan. 3 years go by, the new car smell is gone. The tires are bald, maybe the transmission is acting funny. Or maybe they just want the newer model with the bigger screen. They go back to the dealership to trade it in. Here's the problem. They still owe $40,000 on the loan, but the truck is only worth $30,000. They have $10,000 of negative equity. In a sane world, they would have to write a check for $10,000 to sell the truck, but they do not have $10,000. The dealer says, "No problem, we will just roll it over." They take that $10,000 of old debt and add it to the loan for the new truck. Now, they are not just financing the new vehicle, they are financing the ghost of the old one. The loan balance swells, the payments get higher. The term gets stretched again to keep the monthly number manageable. This is the financial hamster wheel. The faster you run, the further behind you get. I have seen contracts where people owe $80,000 on a vehicle that is worth $45,000. At that point, you do not own the car. The debt owns you. You are effectively an indentured servant to the automotive lender, working solely to service interest on an asset that is rotting in your driveway. Why do we do this? Why do rational, hardworking people sign up for this misery? It is because we have normalized financial insanity. Think about it this way. If a friend told you they were spending $1,200 a month on Starbucks coffee, you would stage an intervention. You would call them crazy. You would tell them they have an addiction. But if that same friend tells you they spend $1,200 a month on a Ford F-150, you nod and say, "Nice truck, man." We have created a culture where the car is no longer just transportation. It is an extension of our identity. It is a costume we wear to show the world who we want to be. The automotive marketing machine is the most sophisticated psychological operation on the planet. They do not sell you a truck, they sell you a lifestyle. Watch the commercials. They show rugged men climbing mountains, towing massive boats, conquering the wilderness. They are selling the fantasy of capability and freedom. The reality? 95% of those trucks will never tow a single thing. They will never touch mud. They will be used to commute to an office park and sit in traffic for 2 hours a day. The driver isn't conquering nature. He is conquering a spreadsheet to make sure he doesn't bounce a check. We are buying an avatar of success. We are paying a status tax. When you sign that loan, you are telling yourself, I work hard. I deserve this. This proves I have made it. But true success isn't driving a bank-owned liability. True success is having options. And that $1,000 payment is the single biggest destroyer of your options. Let us talk about the consequences. Because when that much money leaves your bank account every month, something else has to give. You cannot violate the laws of mathematics forever. This is where we see the phenomenon of being car poor. I have seen people, and this is not an exaggeration, who live in apartments with roommates well into their 30s just so they can park a luxury SUV outside. They are eating ramen noodles for dinner, they are skipping vacations, they are delaying dental work, they are putting off buying a home or starting a family, all to feed the beast in the driveway. They restructure their entire existence around the car payment. It becomes the sun in their financial solar system, and everything else orbits around it. It gets even more tragic when you see people taking on second jobs specifically to afford the car. They work a 9 to 5, then they clock out and drive for Uber or deliver food until midnight. Think about the irony of that. You are working a second job, trading your time and health, essentially destroying the vehicle faster by putting massive mileage on it just to generate the cash flow to pay for the vehicle you are destroying. It is a snake eating its own tail. And the stress, it is invisible, but it is crushing. Living paycheck to paycheck because of a car payment means one flat tire, one medical emergency, 1 week of missed work is a catastrophe. You are walking a tightrope without a safety net, and you are doing it voluntarily. Now, if you think the loan payment is the only problem, you are missing half the equation. The car payment is just the entry fee. The hidden costs are the ones that truly bleed you dry. Let us talk about insurance. A $70,000 vehicle is not cheap to insure. If you are financing it, the bank requires full coverage, low deductibles, maybe gap insurance. For a family with 2 of these vehicles, insurance premiums can easily hit $400 or $500 a month. That is $6,000 a year just for the legal right to drive your debt on the road. Then there is maintenance. Modern vehicles are technological marvels, but they are nightmares to repair. A headlight assembly on a modern luxury truck isn't a $20 bulb anymore. It is a $1,200 LED matrix system. Sensors break. Touch screens fail. Turbos blow. When you are stretching your budget to the limit just to make the monthly payment, you have zero margin for an $800 brake job. So what happens? That repair goes on a credit card at 24% interest. The debt spiral accelerates. And do not forget fuel. If you buy that big truck, you are signing up for 15 miles per gallon. In a volatile energy market, a fluctuation in gas prices can wreck your monthly budget instantly. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect is the household multiplier. Rarely is there just one bad car loan in a driveway. The average American household has 2 cars. Often, both are financed. Dad has the truck. Mom has the massive 3-row SUV for the kids. Now, you have a household with $1,800 to $2,000 a month in outgoing car payments. That is wealth incineration on an industrial scale. That is money that could have funded college tuitions, paid off the mortgage early, or built a rental property portfolio. Instead, it is vanishing into depreciation. This brings us to the most painful part of this analysis, the opportunity cost. This is the number that should keep you awake at night. It is not just about what you spent, it is about what you lost the chance to earn. Let us run a scenario. Let us take 2 people, Guy A and Guy B. Guy A buys the dream truck. He pays $800 a month for 7 years. After insurance and gas and maintenance, let us be conservative and say his total cost of ownership is roughly $1,000 a month. Over 7 years, he spends $84,000. At the end, he has a truck worth maybe $15,000. He has lost $69,000 of pure value. Now, look at Guy B. Guy B buys a reliable, used 5-year-old sedan for cash, or maybe a very small loan. His total cost is significantly lower. He takes that difference, that $800 a month he did not spend on a truck payment, and he invests it in a simple S&P 500 index fund with an average 8% return. Do you know what happens in 10 years? Guy A has a rusted truck and is probably looking for a new loan. Guy B has over $145,000 in his investment account. In 20 years, that simple decision to drive a boring car is worth nearly $450,000. In 30 years, it is over $1 million. This is not an exaggeration. This is compound interest. When you sign that $900 car payment, you aren't just spending monthly income. You are literally setting $1 million of your future retirement on fire. You are trading financial freedom at age 55 for heated seats at age 30. Is it worth it? So, how do we escape? The first step is psychological. We have to break what I call automotive Stockholm syndrome. We have to stop defending the very thing that is holding us captive. You have to stop caring what people at stoplights think of you. You have to stop caring what your coworkers think of your ride. Because remember, if they are driving a brand new $80,000 car, they are probably broke. Why would you want to impress broke people? There is no shame in driving a paid-off car. There is a profound sense of peace in it. When you drive a car with no payment, the engine sounds different. It sounds like freedom. If you are currently trapped in this cycle, you need a plan. It might mean selling the car, taking the loss, and buying a beater to stop the bleeding. It will hurt. It will be embarrassing. But it is better to take a small loss now than to bleed out for the next decade. And if you are thinking about buying a car soon, do the real math. Look at the total cost, not the monthly payment. Look at the term and ask yourself, is this metal box worth sacrificing my financial future? I want to hear from you. Have you fallen into this trap? Or have you resisted the urge and driven an old, reliable car while your friends upgraded? Tell me your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video gave you a reality check, do me a favor, hit that like button so the algorithm shows this to someone who is about to sign a bad contract. I am Max. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.